Good evening, everybody. Today is October 15th, Monday, and this is a Moscow City Council meeting, regular meeting. And if you would all arise with myself and Jed Wallen, an Eagle Scout, we are going to lead in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and it's my pleasure to read. We got Jed Wallen with us from Troop 344, and he just recently received his Eagle Scout commendation, so this is a commendational letter that I would like to read that we wrote to Jed. Dear Jed, I wanted to take this opportunity to congratulate and commend you for your recent success in passing a board of review for your Eagle Scout Award on September 6, 2018. I am aware of the rigorous requirements to obtain the rank of Eagle Scout, and I join your parents, family, and community in recognizing you for this extraordinary achievement. The construction of a large gazebo at the Presbyterian Church's Lael Retreat Center is a complex project which is worthy of an Eagle Scout and which involved planning, fundraising, community participation, and building of the gazebo. Your own excitement and commitment motivated others as you raised $6,500 through your own work and soliciting donations, and you were able to gain assistance from many others to the actual construction. As a community, we are rightfully proud of young people such as yourself who help to make Moscow and Latah County a great place to live and raise a family. You are the product of loving and supportive parents and have been raised with great values and work ethic. I can see the evidence of those lessons through your work with the community food drives and project support for Habitat for Humanity. I am proud of the patriotism you display when you assist with flag raising in remembrance of Memorial Day and your participation in flag ceremonies for local groups. Your accomplishments are worthy of merit, and I am proud to acknowledge your loyalty, commitment, and community service. Great work, Eagle Scout Jed Wallen. Sincerely, Bill Lambert, Mayor. Yay. So, Jed, we're going to get a picture of you up here. Okay, holding this, and this will be yours.
Perfect. Thank you.
You want to make sure your folks get one. Good to me, okay. Now, I'm going to let Jed speak a few words on some of his accomplishments, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to take right here, Jed.
Okay, so I'm just going to talk a little bit more about my project. So it was a 16-foot diameter gazebo out at my church retreat, Lael. I started fundraising for it in this early spring of 2017. Took me almost a year and a half to fundraise. I sold lasagna through our church, and from that I raised quite a lot of money, actually the most from my fundraising sources. I did a bake sale, and I sold popcorn with our troop. We do that each year, and that's how I got most of my money for my Eagle project. And then during that time, you work on the first packet, and that's about like your proposal sort of thing. I guess that's before fundraising, but it asks you like questions: what's your project going to be? What are the different phases of your project? And you have to get it approved by the beneficiary. So for me, that was Lael, and you have to get it approved by your troop and all these and different organizations, and then you can start the fundraising. And after that, once I had all the money, I'm working on the second packet, which is the project plan. That's planning how I'm supposed to build the gazebo, making blueprints also, and just going into a little bit more detail than the proposal is. And then I can actually start building the project. And for that, I organized work days, and we had like a total of 700 some man hours, like 780 overall. And so we would bring the supplies in on like a pickup down to where the pond was out there, and we would start building it. We had different things like, first while we did cement pilings, put posts on, and then we attached the floor, then the rafters that go up top, and then we framed in the roof a little bit more. Then we added blue pine on the top as like a ceiling, and then we used dark forest green tin as the roof. There was also a cupola on top, which is like a little miniature thing. It was about this big on top of the gazebo, and then it has its own little roof. And then once I finished the project, I worked on the last packet, which all of them are very difficult. They have very difficult questions that you go through, and you go, what do they want me to put down for this? And the hardest one, I think, is the second, but then you get to the third, which is the project report. And that asks you, like, what was the best thing that happened during your project? Like, what was the most challenging? For me, the most challenging thing was, at the very beginning, was getting used to delegating the work to other people and not having me myself do it, because the point of the Eagle Scout project is to learn how to become a leader. And that was the hardest part for me in the beginning, was learning how to have others work too. And then once I finished with that, I have different meetings again that are, so in the beginning I had approval meetings, and at the end I have also, I guess, approval meetings that they said, you did do this, you did what you proposed to us. So I went to the troop committee, I went to my scoutmaster, and they each have to give me signatures. And I went back to the beneficiary, and they also have to give me a signature. And then then I had a meeting with our district representative for Eagle Scouts. And you meet with him, and he talks with you for a while. And then he sets up an Eagle Scout board review. And that takes a long time, because you have to have someone from the community. You have to have someone from like the organization, I think. And my total board ended up being 5 or 6 people. And then they take about 2 hours. For most of the time, they're asking me questions about my project, about my life, just different things. And then for the rest of the time, they talk to my scoutmasters, and they also talk to my parents. And my parents answer a few questions about me. And then at the end of that 2 hours, or however long it lasts, quite a long time, they gave me the approval, and then they take a sheet of information with all my information. They send it all the way to Texas, and I have to wait for about 3 months, so I'm still waiting for it to come back. And then after that, once it's back, then we get to set up a Eagle Scout ceremony for me. So that's a little bit about my Eagle Scout project.
Awesome.
Well, Jed, you can be extremely proud of your accomplishments, and I know your parents are very, very proud of what you've done, and because it takes a commitment. And one of the things as a young man that you learn through leadership is the delegating to other people and not doing the whole thing yourself, because you cannot do that. That's where it comes in, where you have to delegate and collaborate and work together to get it accomplished. And so that's a big deal. So with that, congratulations again. Okay, with that, I will move on to item number 1, which is the consent agenda.
I move approval of consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Art and a second by Gina to approve the consent agenda as is. I'll start to roll with Ann.
Aye.
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 Okay, good enough. Next up is staff recognition report. Gary Reedner will be presenting, and I do know he has something for us because he is walking around. And so he will come up here, and so we'll see what he's got on mind for us this evening. Hello, Gary.
Hello, Your Honor. Thank you. We have a couple of staff recognition awards tonight, city recognition awards. The first one is I would like to congratulate the Finance Department on receiving the, I believe it is the 14th consecutive award from the Government Finance Officers Association, Certificate of Achievement for Excellence of Financial Reporting. It's the highest form of recognition in governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by the government and its management. When a certificate of achievement is awarded to a government, an award of financial reporting achievement is also presented to the individuals or department designated by the government as primarily responsible for the preparation of the documents. So in this case, it is our Finance Department. We have Finance Director Sarah Banks here to accept the award from the mayor. So I would ask that she come forward and the mayor come forward, and this award can be presented. They, a few years ago, quit giving us the full plaque, so now we get this neat little sticker that goes on our other plaque, but we do get this cool certificate. So
Okay.
with that,
Show up well in the picture.
oh, you can take the picture.
Well, let's get out here.
Great, go ahead.
You can hop in here. You need to hop in here too, 'cause you're part of it. We want you right in the middle here.
Okay.
Sarah.
Nice face.
1, 2, 3, and 1, 2.
She does that so much smoother than Gary.
Great idea.
But you're, don't lose this, I guess that button is pretty,
It really
You wanna
is
speak for
important
me?
on what-
Yeah, come on up here. Huh? You're our finance director, so let's hear a few words from you, Sarah.
Say how much you
Hi, Council. So, yep, I'd like to say that I feel really fortunate about the award that we got, and it's actually the 15th year in a row, not 14th. Just state that, but yeah, staff was really good and supportive in everything that we did to get the capper, and actually so was Gary. Gary was acting finance director for majority of the year, and so he deserves some recognition too on that one, and so it was a great collaboration. We worked hard, and hopefully we continue to get it every year.
Good job, Mary. Yeah, the thing about the government financing and watching the purse strings and what we do, this comprehensive annual financial report is such a big deal. The achievement for excellence, it's not just something that is just a gimme. It's something you have to really work for and do right. And so that's something for our city we can be very, very proud of. So thank you, Sarah, very much, and Gary as well.
Thank you, Your Honor. We also have another award that was, Les McDonald went to Fairbanks, Alaska last week to accept, and Dr. Michael Lowry, Associate Professor of Civil and Environmental Engineering at the University of Idaho, was the nominator of the city for that award. So I'd ask Dr. come forward.
Thanks, Mike.
Good evening, Mike.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's my pleasure to come to tell you about an award that your staff has received recently. So I was invited to explain the context of the award and why they were selected. This was an award from the U.S. Department of Transportation. The U.S. DOT divides the country into 10 regions, and we are in the Pacific Northwest region, which includes Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and Alaska. And for research purposes, each region has an entity that oversees money that comes from the U.S. DOT to do research and education, and that organization is called PACTRANS. Each year, PACTRANS has an annual conference in one of the states. This year it was in Alaska, and awards are given. One award that they do is Collaborator of the Year, and I nominated the Public Works Engineering, in particular Les and Kevin and Tyler, to receive this award. The intent of the award is for, and they were competing against other cities throughout the region and state DOTs and other state agencies. The award is given to an organization that has helped with mentoring students, helped with research support, helped with class projects. And so let me just tell you a few of the things that we highlighted in our submission. And these are just things that I'm aware of because there's other engineers in our department that have done other things. But in the last few years, some of the things that have occurred, there was, that are now constructed or being constructed, there was a class project that looked at the middle school and the traffic calming in front of the middle school. And that was put forward by the city and also by the school superintendent that asked us to look at that. So we had a group of students look at that and put together some ideas, and eventually those ideas went forward, and you know the result of that. Another one is what's currently being done, the underpass at White Avenue that's under construction. That was 2 class projects where students went out and surveyed the area and calculated the potential flooding that might occur. A class project that happened was or a student's master's thesis. Becky Couch, who used to work for the city, for her master's project was the traffic calming on 6th Street and on Deacon on campus, which was in a collaboration with both the city and the university. And there's many others. There's been some projects dealing with some of the drainage in town, a parking lot project. On occasion, the engineering department or public works presents to our senior design course ideas that the seniors can work on. And it's a great opportunity for the students to have real-world examples to discuss with practicing engineers and get an idea of what matters and what the constraints are. And I have no illusion that these students, that the final products that I described, that they were their ideas or that their designs in the end or what occurred. Often these ideas are originating from these folks. For example, the underpass project, I think, was originally Bill Belknap's idea. But what our students are able to do is sort of bring to life these ideas and demonstrate them with some visuals and to kind of get the city excited about them. And so I think there's been a back and forth that's happened with the city conceiving ideas and students bringing them to life. And so that's been a real good thing for I think the city and definitely for our students. And then recently the city has been involved with helping us receive research grants this past year. And again, there's others over the last few decades, but in recent times we've received a grant for $60,000 to look at the deterioration in pavement from car traffic and studded tires on, in particular, it's a new thing to put green paint down for bicycle conflict zones. And so the US DOT did not have any research on that. So we submitted a proposal to the US DOT to look at how that green paint will withstand traffic, how the color and the reflectivity of the paint. And we won that award. And I say we because actually this was a pavement engineer, not myself, that is leading that project. And then another project that is being led by a law professor is to look at some of the issues related to bike share. And you know that's a hot topic around the country now, and the university are thinking about it, considering it, and so they felt it was a good thing to get involved with, so they also submitted a letter of support for that, and that project was also selected as a winner, and that's $120,000 to look at the impacts of bike share on communities. So those are just some examples, and we look forward to continuing that type of collaboration, both with student projects and research projects. It's just been really great. We appreciate it. So as Gary said, we had, at the expense of the US DOT, we had one all paid for trip to Alaska. Sorry we couldn't have brought everyone, but somehow Les, they drew straws and he won. Although October, Alaska, I'm not sure how much he won, but no, I think he had a good time. I was there with him, and he received this plaque there, and he had a chance to meet folks from Oregon, Washington, Alaska, at all of the universities, and others, engineers from the cities and the state DOTs were present as well. And this, the award was given, pictures were taken, and that will go into a final report that's submitted to the US DOT. So I think it's a great honor for the city to have received this, and it's my pleasure to present this plaque to Les, and I suppose if Kevin and Tyler, if they want to come up, since they didn't get to go to Alaska, they at least can be in the photo.
The shuffle.
Good job. Thank you, Mike, very much for that presentation. So, Les?
If I could just take a minute, I want to express my appreciation to Mike. You know, he and I have spent a lot of time together over the last year on a little project out here. Most of you are familiar with along 3rd Street. And Mike really brought a lot to the table in helping us kind of wade through some of the challenges and the options and opportunities that could be done within the 3rd Street corridor. And it just, to me, was a really a fine example of that type of cooperation that we have between the city and the university. Mike talked about some other projects that have been ongoing that we've been successful in working with the university, you know, the undergraduates, graduate students, and the staff and faculty to take them through that initial concept development, through vetting with students, whether it's hydraulic analysis or you know, other types of designed things within the engineering department, and then eventually carry those into grants and finally into full construction projects. We've had quite a few of those, and we actually talked here the last couple of days when we were up north about some other possible projects that we have in our sites at the city, perhaps their students could help us with as well. And so we're looking forward to that. I do want to mention also that the cooperation extends beyond just the engineering aspects. As you all know, of course, we provide reclaimed water to the university, and we have since the 1970s. You know, we take their effluent from their facilities and treat that and essentially send some of it back to them as clean water. We work cooperatively in the operations area when it comes to snow plowing and street maintenance, doing things like ensuring that our street marking systems for the new bike system are consistent all the way through town, both on and off campus, the wayfinding system that's coming along as well. So there's just many, many opportunities that we've had to work together, and it's folks like Mike at the university that have made it really a joy to do so. And so truly honored by this. I think it's a wonderful thing for an outside entity to give some recognition to the department. We're really honored by that. We're pleased that Mike thought to recommend us for this award. I did find it interesting that he didn't tell us until actually after we had won the award. So he informed us that, hey, I submitted, and guess what, you won. So that was a bit of an interesting twist. But again, I really appreciated his involvement with us over the last year and his willingness to essentially put the city out there for some recognition for some of the things that we do. And so thank you to Mike, and thank you all.
You know, and with that, the Public Works Department, I mean, you got a great team that does that. And one thing's for certain, it's not just one person, because you cannot do it all. And some of the things that we've faced, whether it's past year or whatever, or ongoing, it's a continued thing, and a dialogue and the commitment that we have in the discussions we have within the community are a great example of that. So, and we can get things done and move forward. So,
Absolutely.
Anyway, good job, Les. Thanks, Tyler and Kevin and the rest of the crew, and thank you, Mike, for bringing that forward. So, awesome. And I get that concludes your remarks,
Yes, sir.
Gary? Okay, we will move on to item number 4, it's mayoral's appointment, and I do have one this evening that I'd like council to take consideration of, and that is Jared Norman, Historic Preservation Commission, with an expiration at 12/31 of 2020. And I would entertain a motion on this, if I could, please.
I move approval of the appointment.
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion by Art and a second by Brandy to approve Jared Norman for this slot. I'll take the roll. We'll start with Brandy.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Jared is not with us this evening. I would let him, as usual, get a chance to speak, but we appreciate anybody that works on our commissions, the many people that are volunteers in our city is really great, and that makes a huge part of things better for all of us. So, okay, with that, I'm going to open it up item number 5, which is public comment and mayor's response period, and we let those come up, and we give them 3 minutes to tell us, of course, announce your name and your address, what's on your mind, as long as it's something that is not on the agenda or something that's in front of Planning and Zoning or the Board of Adjustments. So if you got anybody out there who wants to come up and speak, now is your chance.
Hello, everybody, council, your honor. Thanks for having me here, or letting me speak. All right, I'm Annette Beegler, and I'm running for Latah County Assessor. I just wanted to introduce myself. I've been a resident on the Palouse for 20 years, and when I graduated from WSU, I knew I wanted to make Moscow my home. And for the last 15 years, I've been self-employed as a restaurant owner. I ran La Madrid, and before that, San Miguel's Family Mexican Restaurant. As a candidate for assessor, I am very interested in local government, and I believe in strong community leadership. I am already a member of the Board of Adjustments for the City of Moscow, thanks to Mayor Lambert. And the elected assessor's duty is to manage the office and the employees within it, following the guidelines set forth in Title 63 by the State Tax Commission. That said, our county's assessor's team needs a proven leader. I have proven administrative skills and people skills. I was never afraid of the dedication and hard work it takes to own and manage a restaurant, and I was good at it. Right? Everybody has to agree. Okay. So while creating, implementing, and maintaining policies and procedures, I got to lead in so many ways. I wore the hats of human resources for an average of 20 employees, the hat of public relations, keeping customer service standards high, a hat for budgeting and finances, training, taxes, keeping permits current, payroll, scheduling, record keeping, sales, inventory, marketing, all of it. I manage with a positive attitude, and I have the ability to inspire, organize, and work as a team. While it is not required for the elected assessor to be a certified appraiser, this past July, I spent a week in Boise attending a class to become a certified appraiser. 2 classes are required to become an appraiser, so I'm already halfway done with that. So the class and the material and its concepts came very easily to me, and I enjoyed learning it, and I conquered the exam. As your assessor, I will work hard and be fair and be respectful. Thank you, City Council, for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself.
Thank you, Annette.
Okay, thank you. I didn't mention my address. 937 Kenneth Street, Moscow.
Okay, thank you, Annette.
Good evening. Paul Kimmel, 1037 4 Mile Road, Viola, which
Hello,
is
Paul.
an unincorporated suburb of Moscow. So tonight I want to cordially invite all of you to attend our annual Blue Space and Water Summit. First of all, I want to thank you for your ongoing support, and Tyler and Les have been great assets to our Blue Space and Aquifer Committee. And some of you on council have served as the liaison to that, so we really want to thank you. This year, our keynote is Sandra Postel. She is a National Geographic Freshwater Fellow, as well as a co-founder of an organization called Change the Course. Super insightful woman, just wrote a book called Replenish. In fact, it's at Book People, and we'll have book signing at the event. It's free. It's Thursday night, 4:30 at Schweitzer. Besides Sandra, we'll have, of course, State of the Basin from Corey Woodley, our executive manager of the PBAC. We'll also hear from both the City of Moscow as well as City of Pullman on some of our conservation efforts to date. A lot of this success. We'll celebrate success. I know Nicole Baker is working on a great little video to kind of highlight some of the cool stuff going on here. And Pullman, not to be outdone, has got something up their sleeve too. So it's kind of fun. It's a very healthy thing that we can serve and compete in the same breath. That's okay. We'll also hear from Catherine Roden. She is a hydrologist with the National Weather Service and NOAA, and she's going to talk about changing climate cycles and what that means for us on the basin. So it's a great tie-in to our keynote. And again, we'll have food, we'll have fun, we'll have lots of conversation, and would look forward to all of you being there. I know Mayor Lambert will say a few words along with Mayor Johnson from Pullman and keep us on track. So with that, I'd stand for any questions.
Yes, indeed. It's always a good time. It's a fun time to be at. The neat thing is we're getting closer to the solution end of it, and that's what I'm very, very, I'll be impressed when we really make the decision, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to go after it, because we've been talking about this for decades, and it's time for us to move forward with the action plan and actually get something done. And I think we're getting closer and closer to those steps, Paul.
I think we have a deadline of, Les, I'm looking at you, of 2025 for a stabilized aquifer. So what does that mean? It means that we have to provide some additional water supply. We have to really ramp up conservation. We have to really pay attention. And we do. I mean, honestly, per capita, we do a fabulous job here. I mean, statewide, regionally, as well as in the United States, we're doing good things. Our population grows. Our per capita use continues to decline. So, it's because of the conservation programs, the toilet rebates and Y-scape and all those things. So we've got to keep it up.
Yep. Questions for Paul? Brandy?
What was the name of the person you said that was going to speak about the climate changing?
Catherine Roden, Rowden. She's what they call a service hydrologist with the National Weather Service out of Spokane. So,
Thank you.
yeah, she's great. She's got some really interesting information to share with us. So,
Other questions for Paul? Well, thank you, sir, very
Thank
much.
you.
I look forward to
Again,
seeing
thank
you
you.
on Thursday.
all right.
I'll be
Thanks.
there. Okay, do we have others who would like to come up and speak? We're getting down to a dwindling crowd, so we will move on. That's it as far as our agenda. We're going to move on to reports. I'm going to start with you, Gina.
I'm really glad you did, because I have absolutely nothing to tell you.
Okay, well, we'll move on right on to Jim then.
I haven't had any meetings since the last one to report on, but the Water Summit is Thursday, and that was what I wanted to reiterate, that it'll be great at 4:30, and if anybody can be there, I'd love to have you.
It's a good time. Randy?
I just had the Pathways Commission, and David did a great presentation to fill them in on where we are with the 95 underpass, and showed some of the drawings that we had to date, just to give them an idea and keep them informed. And I think there was some questions and feedback that will, I'm sure, be transmitted about the transition on the west side and how that's looking. I think it's very early on in the project. So I think they were eager to pass their ideas along through David. And the only other thing, which maybe I think the mayor could speak to, was the ice wing dedication at East City Park, which many people were at, and was really wonderful and well-attended and exciting, and just beautiful day. So that's it.
Catherine?
We got an email today from Rebecca Couch, whose bike share is still being discussed, and she's been just talking with Gotcha Mobility, and so I think everybody got that email about a time to meet, so hopefully we can begin to figure out how that will look in our community or fit in our community. And then the other information has to do with let's see, Tim Davis presented about the sanitation changes back in the summer. And since then, we've had the master plan. And then within the report that he gave us, that they used as their template, which was from the Department of Ecology from the state of Washington, was information about a recycling program through Trex. And so because we only will be collecting the 1 and 2 screw top plastic bottles, there's an opportunity for us to collect all the plastic film things. And so I brought in what we're doing at my school so that you can see. So they have community-wide, excuse me, and school-wide programs, and Trex, you can go to trex.com and see this. And I brought in the plastic materials and the box that Trex sends. Yeah. Trex sends cardboard boxes, and these can go into businesses or homes or schools for us to collect film. And the film means the plastic that we don't collect anymore, like the paper that goes around, the plastic that goes around reams of paper, bread containers, plastic bags, produce bags, newspaper, film, Ziplocs, more newspaper. This is just from our house. Cereal bags, more bread, more Ziplocs. I got these from school. Covers of all kinds of cellophane. And I met with Stevie this summer from our Lake House Sanitation Recycle Center about what we could do as a community, because this was in that document that they gave us. And so she and I talked, and Stevie and Josh came to my school, and they talked at large about what's happening with trying to recycle and the problems that the bags do for all this big $1 million machinery. So with us sending these to Trex makes decking, and they use sawdust and plastic, this film plastic, to make the decking material. And the competitions are put together so that people can get benches. So if the school wins, they win a bench, a Trex bench. And I kind of thought, if Moscow wins for our community our size, we get a bench. We like benches. We can use a Trex bench. But besides the fact that there's a competition, there's an opportunity for us in our community. This goes right with what Paul Kimmel and PBAC were talking about, that we can make a difference in conservation, and mostly people realizing that film materials are around, but you're not aware of it. And I think that's the biggest comment that's happened at our school. I mean, kids are bringing in bags and bags of plastics, and mostly they're just realizing how much of it is around them, the thin film materials around them, and they just weren't aware of it. So we have 2 locations that drop off in Moscow. You can take it to Winco. You just take it to the front, and then they'll take it to the back, and then it gets taken to their warehouse in Boise. Or you take it to Safeway, and then Safeway takes it to their warehouse in Spokane, and from there it's sorted and sent to Trex. Trex has been doing this program since 2006. So it's a way for us as a community to be able to continue to recycle, because I know Moscow loves to recycle, and we're very invested in those things. And so I was just bringing this up because I think that maybe we could talk about it as a city if we'd like to continue to do this. So mostly I just wanted to report to see if we want to talk about it at some point.
Well, one of the things, you mentioned a couple of grocery stores in there, and I know Safeway's done it for years. I couldn't even tell you how many years, probably at least 15 years, Catherine, that we've taken bags like that.
But they didn't know that Trex did it, so they said, yeah, they took
No, well, I understand that, but they did, they sent it into, it still goes from the local store to the distribution center in Spokane, and sometimes and even on to Seattle, and then they make the different disbursements of it. But anyway, they've been saving these bags and having people bring bags in for years, so which is a good thing. I'm glad to hear Winco's doing the same thing.
And what was really good, and I just wanted to commend Stevie and Josh. So Josh is the warehouse manager at the recycle center, and Stevie is our outreach. And they came to my class to originally talk about what's changing in our recycle program. But then Josh, as the warehouse manager, spent a lot of time talking about the problems that the plastic bags have when in the sorting and the downtime for the machines, and the costs that are passed along along and the problems that are passed along and that. So just having a place to take dry film to put it for the community would be really good. And I think that they're going to go to some other schools and talk about the recycling program. But they were very excited to see what we were doing. My principal wanted you to know that he was going to show you what we were doing when you do the walk to school, and he can kind of let you know what's going on. But I think other schools in the district might be interested in doing it, and maybe some other businesses. So that information's available at trex.com, or you can contact me as a representative of the city, not of Trex. Right.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. Arthur?
It's the autumnal doldrums. There's not much going on. Meetings are canceled for lack of things to do, so I have nothing for you.
Okay, Ann?
Fair and Affordable Housing met the first Thursday this month, and Linda Pike, who I think you all are familiar with on the commission, she had been doing research on what it would look like to create some sort of temporary lot for people who are living in their cars. And so she did a lot of outreach to other communities that have tried it, sort of best practices, and she brought it back to the commission, asking basically if we wanted to pursue it and then what those next questions would look like. So what they're trying to figure out is if there is a demand for it, which is hard to gauge because it's hard to know how many people live in their cars. So they're doing outreach to law enforcement and to U of I to try to get some measure of that. And then they're going to have an ongoing discussion. But that was the topic for them for the week.
Well, thank you. Okay, well, I have a few things. October 5th, I was down at Boise Free Association Idaho board meeting. We had a one-day event down there. We talked about gearing up for the next legislative session. I'll be going down at the end of November for another one of those and some of the topics that we're talking about. Some of those things that we're going to continue working on is possible about localities having local option taxes, which we've never been able to do, and so hopefully we can make some headway with that, as well as a number of other things, kind of in the early stages, but it'll be presentations. We'll have it at the end of November, what we want to bring forward to Capitol Day on the Hill when we meet in January, so that'll be kind of an interesting thing for us to see where we're going with that. October 8th, we had our second MIAC meeting in here. Had 14 kids signed up, so I'm very excited about that. And the next one, they will be holding elections for their chair, vice chair, historian, treasurer, as well as secretary. So these kids are a bunch of bright kids. It's amazing to see what they were going to come up with. So it's really a fun thing for me to be able to help steer that. October 10th was the start of the walk back to school, and we went from right here from Friendship Square to Russell, as well as Friendship Square to West Park. And on the 17th, this Wednesday, we will be going from Orchard Park, Lyle Park, on F Street, corner of F and Orchard, to the charter school. So it'll be fun to walk with those kids. And the 10,000 steps a day, I'm cruising along with that pretty well, so I'm happy about that, to just report that. And I got a little more in 2 weeks. I'm about halfway through this thing. Tomorrow I'll be at the halfway point. And Brandy had mentioned about the ice swing at East City Park, and that was October 11th, the dedication of that. And that's really gratifying to see a handicapped person that can utilize that swing. And our Parks Department did an absolute fabulous job of putting that together and installing that. And kudos to Calvin Macy for the job the crew did. And for those of you that haven't seen it, Brandy was there. Yeah, to me it was just amazing, and it makes you kind of, if you don't realize how lucky you are, you know, when you have your health and have the things that you have, boy, it's amazing. And to me, I don't take it for granted, because, and the older I get, the more and more precious it is to me. And for those that have disabilities and need things like this, it's a big deal for us. That buddy club from the high school, I love those kids. It's amazing what they do, and hats off to them. And with that, that's all I have. Gary, do you have some reports for us tonight?
No report, sir, but I think you do need to explain that tie you're wearing.
Oh, yeah. This, ladies and gentlemen, you know, Halloween is in 2 weeks. And this isn't necessarily a Halloween tie, but it is orange and black. And I'm wearing black trousers, of course. And what this is a Bengal tie from Idaho State University. The mayor from Pocatello and I had a bet. And the winner of that football game, the other mayor had to wear their tie. And so I gave him, I was hoping, because I gave him kind of an ugly Idaho tie, big yellow eye on it and stuff. But as a good sport that I am I'm wearing this tie, and that's why I'm wearing it this evening. And by the way, this is appropriate for Halloween, so just saying, I think maybe it will be my Halloween costume as well. But that was a bet's a bet, and I lost it. And I'm looking forward to Brian Black coming up next year because we play Idaho State up here. In fact, him and his wife are going to stay with Kathy and I, and so I'm looking forward to that. And holy smokes, I hope he has to wear that ugly tie we got him because I want to be able to rib him. And then he was a good sport about it. I mean, he didn't rub it into me too much, but so I got to be kind next year. But God, I hope we beat him. We just got to be able to beat him, you know. So anyway, that's what this tie. Thank you for reminding me, Gary, because before the council meeting tonight, I took pictures of this and sent it to the fine Mayor Pocatello so he would know what a good sport I am. And of course, Zach's got this on video on a camera, so it will be for anybody to see. But that's what the deal is. Okay, now is that all we have?
No further reports.
Okay, well, that's the end of our regular meeting, folks, and I would entertain an adjournment to executive session per Idaho Code 74-206, 1B, 1C, and 1F at this meeting, and this meeting will not resume or reconvene after the end of the executive session.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, this meeting is adjourned, and then we'll go into executive session at 7:46. Thank you, and proud parents, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Wallen. You got quite a guy there.